Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. There have been times in this arena, Madison Square Garden, when you knew that you were witnessing history, when you knew that just being here was a privilege and an honor that you would never forget. This is one of those times. Today, we are saying thank you to one of the greatest hockey players ever to play the game. And we'll do it like only you know how to do it in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome number 99, Wayne Grettzky. Wayne, there are few words that could adequately express how much your talent and grace has meant to all of us. Before we begin tonight, several individuals want to celebrate your career and express their thanks in some small way. First, we'd like to invite to center ice those who you hold most dear. Your mother, Phyllis, your children, Trevor, Ty, and Paulina, and your wife, of course, Janet. Now, please welcome NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman, Rangers President and General Manager Neil Smith, former Oilers coach and current Rangers head coach John Muckler. In uniform for tonight's ceremony, please welcome back Assistant Captain Jeff Bukaboom and Rangers Captain Brian Leach. Also joining us as a surprise to Wayne is his first coach and general manager in the NHL, a former Ranger and now president of the Edmonton Oilers, Glenn Sather. Also joining us as a surprise to Wayne is the player he considers the greatest player he ever played against. He is two-time Stanley Cup winner, winner of 3 Hart trophies, as league's MVP, and 6 Art Rose trophies as the league's leading scorer, Mario Lemieux. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is former Oiler teammate of Wayne's. Wayne recently said he is the greatest player he has ever played with. Together in Edmonton, they won 4 cups. They were reunited as teammates here in New York. Please welcome number 11, Mark Messier. Now, Wayne, we would like to present you with a few gifts. Our first presenter is Gary Bettman.
Wayne, on behalf of all your fans, we're not quite ready to take up your invitation of Friday and be happy and celebrate, because I think we're all sad that you're retiring. But I have 2 presentations I'd like to make to commemorate today. The first is of your 61 NHL records, which is a remarkable achievement. Some of them are season, some of them are career records, but a number of them were records set in particular games. And since we know you're such an aficionado and fan of the game and the history and the tradition and the statistics, we're going to give you the original score sheets of 30 of those games that'll be appropriately framed, and Janet can redecorate around them. The second presentation, which is particularly appropriate in the millennium year of 1999, is a little different. When you take off that sweater, your jersey, after today's game, you will be the last player in the NHL to ever wear 99. You have always been, and you will always be the great one, and there will never be another. On behalf of all of your fans, we miss you and we thank you.
Thank you, Gary. And now for our next presentation, Team Captain Brian Leach.
Thank you very much, Wayne. On behalf of your teammates, I'd like to say how proud we are and honored to be a part of your career and present you with 75-inch high-definition TV. Thank you very much, Wayne.
That's a high-def television, 75 inches. Congratulations, Wayne. And for our final presentation, the man who brought Wayne Grettzky to New York, Mr. Neil Smith.
Wayne, on behalf of the entire organization and John Muckler, all our great Ranger fans,
We've got a car to bring out the most special person in your life, your dad, to make sure you always get back to Madison Square Garden. Dave Checketts will deliver your dad in your new car.
Mr. Dave Checketts and Walter Grettzky, Wayne's father. Wayne's with his mom and dad. Isn't that great? There's the keys, Wayne. Ladies and gentlemen, he is quite simply the great one, Wayne Grettzky.
Thank you. I love my car. I said the other night, I wanted this to be a celebration because I feel so lucky that I was able to play in the National Hockey League. I feel so fortunate to have played with some of the game's greatest players, play against guys who I admire so much, people like Mary Lemieux, to play with great players like Brian Leach and Adam Graves and Jeff Bookeboom, to my teammates, of course to play, as I said today, the best player I ever played with, Mark Messier. To be here with the best player I ever played against, Mary Lemieux. And of course, you're nothing without family, and I have great parents, great brothers and sisters, some great friendships that I've developed over the years, and of course, most importantly, my kids and my wife, Janet, who I love dearly. I appreciate all the accolades. I thank Madison Square Garden and New York Rangers. And of course, as I said the other day, I tell people the greatest place to play as a professional athlete is right here in New York. To the Ranger fans, thank you. Thank you all very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is just the start of an unforgettable afternoon here at Madison Square Garden. We hope you enjoyed today's pregame festivities that will continue throughout this afternoon as we celebrate the career of the great one, Wayne Grettzky. Let's have fun and enjoy the game. Thank you very much, New York.
The referee is Bill McCreary. There you see him shaking hands with Wayne. Pat DiPuzzo and Jean Morin are the linesmen. John McLean and Nicholas Sundstrom will start as his line mates in the final game. And again, many of the fans stand here as Bob Gallerstein, the PA announcer, has again said the name Wayne Grettzky. This game begins the 82nd of the year for both the Rangers and Penguins. The Penguins will move on to the playoffs. against either Ottawa or New Jersey. You'll notice the 99s behind the net. That another alteration to league policy just for today, because that's the man's office. Mike Richter comes out to play this one, away from Kip Miller, tapped by Yager and sped off of the kneeling Leach wide of the goal. Flipped back on by McLean, and it's Wayne Grettzky with it. Grettzky moving ahead, tried to finesse a pass through, but that's brought back out and handed on to Jaromir Jagr. Drops it back for Straka. Straka looking, breaks a shot, and getting a piece of it was Richter. Thrown back off by Sundstrom, and Grettzky takes. Lobbed on back to neutral ice, and to the bench he comes for a change in lines. 54 seconds gone, first period.
Mike, Jaromir Jagr was not scheduled to dress for this game. Maybe just a game where he would sit out, rest, get ready for the playoffs. As soon as he heard it was going to be Gretzky's last ever, hey, I'll play. I want to get back into the lineup, please.
Todd Harvey took the warm-up, even though he has been scratched for the last 26 games with a broken thumb. Mike Maniluk is in the lineup today. Peter Nedved took the warm-up as well. Jeff Bukaboom, of course, you saw out on the ice, and those three have been injured for a good stretch now. Puck thrown wide of Mike Richter. Along the boards, dealt back in deep by Matthew Barnaby. A rocking check by Chris Tamer. Tamer, an ex-Penguin. The only major deal that the Penguins made this year was with the New York Rangers. This one knifed away from Savard.
And Mike Tamer was the only player to play in Mario Lemieux's last game for Pittsburgh and to play here with the Rangers, seeing Gretzky's last game. So he's been a part of history now twice.
Boy, what stories he will have. Not only about his own career and the occasional roughness of it, but some of the games he's played in. It is Stevens firing it back around, kept there for a toss by Andrisak, but it is taken instead by Ramon Ender. Ramon Ender turned it back off into Langdon, then to Ender. Speaking of tough guys, we have a few out there right now. Manny Malhotra for the Rangers popped it on, stepped into Alexei Kovalov. Kovalov trying to fight his way through, cannot do it, and the Rangers start out with a 3-on-2. Malhotra feeds on the wing to Langdon. Langdon jammed one in on goal and scrambling, but hanging on is Tom Barrasso, and so play is stopped.
Mike, I got a call in my car this morning from Wayne Gretzky on the way to Madison Square Garden, and he asked me to do a favor, and I said, certainly I'd do anything he needs. He said, listen, when I announced the other day I was going to retire during the press conference, there's two people I forgot to thank. He said, could you do that for me? I said, I'd be very happy to. He said, well, one of them is Dan Kelly, former announcer, used to announce for the St. Louis Blues, a legend in St. Louis, who passed away due to cancer. And the other, he said, the other one is Tom Mees, who was with ESPN, play-by-play, and of course, in a terrible accident, drowned in the family pool. And we'd just like to pass those words on to everyone that Wayne Gretzky forgot to mention the two names, but he didn't forget for long, and he asked us to mention that he said wanted to say thank you to both of them. Thank you.
He called local sports broadcaster in Brantford, Arnold Anderson, the first person to conduct a radio interview with him when he was 10, to wish Anderson well as he battles cancer and to inform him of that decision that he made even before he made the formal announcement. He thinks of everyone.
It's remarkable. It really is.
It is Jagr. Jagr peeling away. Gretzky is out with his customary line mates for this afternoon, and in prior games, John McLean and Nicholas Sundstrom shot right in on goal by Jagr, is held by Richter, and so play once again is stopped.
We should mention that for this game, Wayne Gretzky has approximately 40 sticks that he's going to give away to teammates, coaches, training staff, etc. after the game. He will wear 3, possibly 4 jerseys, 1 per period, and may have had one on in warm-up. So he's trying to think of everybody as his spectacular career winds down.
That's why from all around hockey, hearts pour out to someone who is not, let's say, materialistically minded. All athletes now that play major league sports are comfortably compensated, but when it goes to the human value beyond this is where this man really shines. Little pass came ahead from Gretzky onto Sundstrom, and he lobbed it back in. Yuri Slager goes back, and it's chipped along now. Sundstrom flips behind. Wayne Gretzky could not get that one. Instead, it's dumped further back to neutral ice. 3:08 played, first period. No score in this contest between the Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. This one bounced away from John McLean, collared by Yuri Slager. Slager, who played against Gretzky in the Olympics last year in Nagano, Japan, as a member of the gold medal winning Czech team.
Watching intently the big screen above center ice is Jerry Seinfeld. He was watching Gordie Howe on tape send a message to Wayne and his family regarding Wayne's future. Thank you to Gordie and his family, and kind of glad Jerry Seinfeld's here to watch.
He had some significant episodes of his program about hockey. Wasn't he wearing one of the letters of Devils one night?
Oh, there you go. One of the
Seem
favorites.
to recall that, and as a matter of fact, I believe it was here, which shows lots of courage. Back on now, Savard working it across, and then Savard trying to break through. Puck came across, curling around his canoe bowl, hands it onto the back. It is Tamer. Shovels one. Bad stop made by Barrasso. Flipped along by Matthew Schneider. Savard left it behind, and the Penguins try to control, can't do it yet. Stolen by Knuble, and a rising shot got the glass. Warenka, Rangers outman. It's turned on back to Tamer. Wrist shot is blocked down. Barnaby up with it. Barnaby flips, and so it glanced off the center ice glass and came on back for Tamer. 4:10 gone. First period, we have no score in the game. At 10, he scored 378 goals in a 69-game season. Then he went on to Indianapolis, and at 17 he was playing the WHA, living in Carmel, Indiana, just north of Indianapolis, and he attended Broad Ripple High School, known also for producing an alumnus named David Letterman. That was before. Puck popped into the seats.
We should, as we mentioned the Devils a moment ago, announce that you do their games on a regular basis, and congratulations to them. First place in the conference before we head into the playoffs. They've had a great season, haven't they?
They did indeed. They established a new NHL record last night for road wins in the season, passing a couple of Scotty Bowman teams, though they had one more game on their schedule than the Montreal Canadiens of the late 70s that authored the same number of wins twice. 28 road wins.
Kind of a quiet beginning to this game. Shots 2 apiece. And the physical end of it hasn't really happened just yet, even though there's one of those guys, Darren Langdon, on the ice right now.
I think that's customary when there are ceremonies, and particularly this one. There were rows upon rows of people who went down to watch the warm-up today. Now, normally there are a lot here that are allowed down for the warm-up until it is concluded, then they go to their seats. But there were even more, and I think the thing I noticed most was it was not the usual boisterous, raucous crowd. It would be unfair to say it was somber, but it would be fair to say it was meaningfully silent. Maybe out of respect, maybe out of awe, maybe out of shock. Centering pass now and turning with it. Working around behind is Alexei Morozov. Tried to put one in front, blocked off by Richter. And they scrap for possession, and it's Robert Lang turning it on the outside. Fed to the front, but unable to get to that was the helmetless now, Alexei Kovalov. Morozov chased to neutral ice, and it can be brought right back up ice by Langdon.
You see Gretzky skate over and give Kovalov a hug over at the Pittsburgh bench. They were teammates. Kovalov said he learned a lot from Wayne Gretzky watching him in practice. Just how he practiced, how he passed the puck, what he would do with it.
Tripped up that time, Kovalov. Meanwhile, the puck jammed into the defenseman Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher for the Penguins. Big guy out of Detroit, Michigan, able to step away and play it ahead. And this one chipped back in. Peter Popovich back to play it. Boy, are we glad to see him playing. Those of you who have watched our Fox games on a regular basis know he took a Steve Yzerman shot around the eye, but has recovered very well from that. Jammed by Gretzky on a cross, and it is Sundstrom in front. Oh, and John McClain with a wonderful opportunity, and that one chopped off the pad of Barrasso. Out in front again. Another try and another try for John McClain. Loose puck popped around the boards, and hustling to it is Sundstrom. Able to get it. Feeds it to Gretzky back behind. Gretzky looking to the front. Trickled one that went off the defense. Hatcher drove it back around, and it's collared by McClain. McClain stepped into, gave it to Gretzky. Looks to the front. McClain moves in there. Gretzky still looking.
Oh, baby.
Trickled one, and a pinching defenseman unable to grab it. That was Leach. Rolled back around behind again. Gretzky, what'll he do? Looks to the front. Pass for McClain. Jammed it across. Sundstrom with it. Shot knocked down, and hanging on is Barrasso. Oh, my. Almost his first point.
And that was an illustration of it.
He's not out on the ice just now. Puck rolled on back and kept by Chris Tamer. And collared and worked around behind for some control by the Pittsburgh defense. Shoveled back on now for the turning Tyler Wright. Dumped back over for Jan Hrdina. It bounced on back. Shots are 6-3 in favor of the Rangers. Angled back in, and there'll be an icing touch-up coming from Tamer. Let's check in with Susie Colbert back at our studio. Susie? Boston can finish 4th or 5th. Philadelphia 5th, 6th, or 7th. Buffalo 6th, 7th, or 8th. Pittsburgh 7th or 8th. The bottom 4, it is wide open today. The top 4 are all sealed up.
Well, that means teams have a lot of scouts out at each game trying to figure out team systems and penalty killing schemes and power play styles.
It's a good thing the scouting staffs are big.
Yeah, yeah, you've got to prepare for all these different teams. You don't know who you're playing. The playoffs, I believe, start on Wednesday.
Yeah, not much time. Puck laid back out by Matthew Barnaby. Tipped back in, a delayed offside. Then it came to Barnaby again, so that's wiped. And then Tamer angled it back off, and Brad Wawrinka will go back to get it. 7 minutes, 45 seconds gone. First period, no score. An intercept by Adam Graves, and then flip back ahead away from Barnaby, and it'll be collared again by Tamer. Tamer going back for this, no icing, and play will continue. Notice the number 99s that are placed behind the nets today. Players are also wearing 99 decals, we are told, on the helmets. This one yanked back across, and a little brush, and then taken by, oh, and Graves, a good backhander, and that blocked off.
7th Ranger shot, Mike. Yesterday, Barrasso did not last the whole game against the Islanders. He was rusty and had a sore back.
Graves drove a shot wide. The camera that is following Wayne Gretzky today is also number 99. It's appropriate, and there will be no one who will ever wear that number again, as Gary Bettman announced today. Puck drilled to the front, and that one hooked back along, but kept alive by Matthew Schneider. Schneider just kept the pressure on, and it's dealt back around behind, and Brad Wawrinka will step to that. Wawrinka's pass is grabbed eventually by Rob Brown and dealt back in, and there will be an icing call. So play stopped with 11:11 to go in the first period, and there is no score.
Reading an article today written by Paul Staggerwald, who covers the Pittsburgh Penguins. He wrote it in a paper in Pittsburgh, saying that Randy Carlyle, a former player, Randy said when you skate alongside Wayne Gretzky during a game, he's quiet. He's like a deer. And you try to think about that, Mike. You try to think, when you skate beside Wayne Gretzky, Randy Carlyle said he's quiet. He's like a deer. Well, a deer could do a lot of different things when you see a deer run around. But this, to say something along those lines, very interesting. It's interesting to hear players and their analogies of Wayne Gretzky.
It has been interesting to hear what players have had to say all week, ever since this was hinted to by my partner a week ago, that it might happen, and then as it seemed to become more sure. Puck dealt around behind, and this one handled and flipped back out again by Andrusak. It went off Robert Lang's stick, and then it's popped further. Glove back along, and Andrusak will have to go back and get it from Tom Barrasso. Nearing the halfway point of the first period. Flipped back along, but off a stick and regathered. Crowd very quiet now. But when Gretzky comes back on, they realize there's the potential not only for a great play, and that's been the custom for 21 years, including WHA days, but also a memorable play on this date. Lang bangs one that ricocheted. Ender able to play it ahead. Lang run into. Trying to step ahead is Kevin Stevens, but help came from Bobby Dallas, and then it's bounced on back. Kevin Hatcher with that on defense turned it back out to Morozov. And Gretzky is back on. Stepping ahead with this now is Brian Leach. Leach moves in. Leach spins. Gretzky shoots, and it went off a skate. Thrown by Leach and then collared by John McLean. McLean threw it around behind, but instead it's Hatcher. Hatcher lost. Gretzky battling with Hatcher for it. Chipped loose to the corner, and it's Martin Straka for Pittsburgh. Turned back up the boards and thrown to the front by Popovich and kicked out by Barrasso. Now it's McLean dealing it to Gretzky to McLean, and the shot deflected wide by the defense. Back around it came for Leach. Flipped one that caromed across and has started back out for Kovalov. Alexei Kovalov turned it back on. John McLean moves back in. Got it to Gretzky. Gretzky looking. Hands over to Popovich. Peter Popovich cruising around behind. Popovich chased off by Yuri Slager. Gets it back to the point. Shoveled back on by Leach. Collared there and thrown by Sundstrom behind. Gretzky flipped one in front just away from McLean. And it's steered back out again to neutral ice.
Rangers are trying to feed Gretzky behind the net a lot. Kevin Hatcher's been against him almost every shift, and he's reading it.
Oh, what a wonderful setup, and Kip Miller is denied by Richter. Back on now comes Savard. Mark Savard kicks it to the corner. Graves trying to get to it, but can't do it just yet. Under 9 minutes to play first period. It's given away to Savard. Tried to tuck one in front, but that one knocked away. thrown to the front again, and a save made by Barrasso. Kept for another shot, and that one deflected up to the glass as Savard had the third Ranger try of this flurry. Brought back ahead now by Jaromir Jagr. Art Ross Trophy winner for the third time this year for the scoring championship. Jagr fed to the front. Shot knocked down by Richter and maybe by the defense too.
Well, Jagr's pumped. He's starting to go now. This is his best shift of this first period. Whoa.
Turned back over for a chance that is blocked loose by Barrasso. Fed behind now to Kevin Stevens, turned around to Darren Langdon. Langdon dropped it back on for Stevens, stepped into by Tyler Wright. They work the boards and Malhotra jams it behind. The rookie put it to the corner. Jagr up with it there. Cleared, but it's kept alive by Leach. Good Rangers pressure, 11 shots to 4 in favor of New York here in the first. No score in the game. Langdon stood up. The first penalty of the game is coming. Taking it as Stevens centered one. Malhotra tries, and then the Penguins are able to touch, and so the call will be made. First power play of the game. It will come to the Rangers.
Rangers power play has been solid all season long, ranked #1 or #2. And a lot of that, it certainly has to do with Wayne Grettzky and also Brian Leach on the left point.
He's got it now with Schneider, gives to him. It's handed back over and steam back in for Sundstrom, then back to Grettzky again. Threw one across the net mouth, came back over for Leach. Leach put it around to Grettzky, clicked off his stick, and it's Alexei Kovalov who can bring it back out for Pittsburgh. A 90-footer deflected wide. Brian Leach checked off. Up with it now is Morozov. Morozov for the short-handed Penguins. Trickled one further. Hustling for it is Sundstrom. Warenka jammed it off his skates. It's brought back in for Warenka to jam back around. It is Madison Square Garden, New York. Wayne Gretzky's final game. No score in the contest. 11 shots to 5. We welcome those of you who have been watching baseball. It is Matthew Schneider bringing it back ahead. He is out with Leach. The power play is on for the New York Rangers, and Wayne Gretzky is out there. Flip back away from him by Slager. Controlled by the Penguins, an outlet pass to Tyler Wright with Leach back. Wright slams one, and it's fought off by Richter in goal. Shifting from defense to offense, the Rangers again. John McClain able to motor through, then is fought off by the defensive Hatcher. Jammed around, though, by Wright. Locking up Ian Moran. Picked off, though, and controlled by the defensive Slager. Fed it back out, and Tyler Wright decides the better of chasing it down, and so again it'll be the Rangers to take with 35 seconds remaining on the penalty.
The Rangers can't seem to get to the middle of the ice in front of Barrasso. Everything to the outside. That's the Penguins style defensively. Keep the good ice to the outside.
Big shot by Brennan, knocked down. Scramble for it, reaching for it as Graves spun back down the ice, though, and so it'll be Richter to take. To the last 13. And down to 6 minutes to go in the first. Those of you just joining us, there was one wonderful flurry of Gretzky behind the net, just feeding everyone who was out there wearing a blue shirt, and there were some tremendous chances which came from it. That really electrified the crowd, which has been sort of a mixture of respect and awe and somberness here today, but also anticipation of wanting to see something happen that will even add more luster to the memory that they're going to have today.
And you see the Penguin players, Mike, they're trying not to allow Gretzky to set up good plays or to let him shoot, but at the same time, you don't sense they're going to go and physically play and take the body. You haven't seen that, have you? It's a strange look. You just feel that there's some respect out there.
Back ahead with it now comes Hrdina. Hrdina moves, and it's dumped on through to the corner. Worked back along by Peter Popovich. Bouncing puck is taken back to neutral ice, and ahead with it now is Kevin Stevens. Stevens lobbing one along that will maybe result in an offside. It's on a delay right now, but that's wiped as the Penguins carry it back over their defensive blue line and just lob it back. Brian Leach with it. Under 5 minutes to go in the first. Leach with an 80-footer away from the backhand reach of Barrasso, jabbed around behind and played by Sven Butenschon. Back on now for Lang, who connects to neutral ice. On with it is Kovalov. Alexei Kovalov motoring on in, tried to get through and is sent flying by Schneider. The puck into his skates and jabbed back across by Stevens. Another line change now, and Gretzky is back out.
Almost too many men on the ice. Wouldn't that have been something? And it was Wayne that jumped on the ice. Wouldn't that have been something?
Well, he would have been on the stat sheet for the day so far, wouldn't he? Here's Robert Lang trying to swagger by. Fed one in front, and it's collared by Gretzky. Lang stepped by and took it away, and then got it as far as center, but it's Gretzky bringing it ahead and is just surrounded by white, black, and gold. Jammed on back into traffic, but worked back on for Kovalov. Kovalov trying to fight his way by the defense, and Rumenender says no, even though he doesn't have a stick. Flipped off of Sundstrom. Out to Gretcki, but the pass intercepted by Morozov. Fired off the shoulder of linesman Jean Morin. Brought back out now by Rumenender. Ender popped one that's gathered in by Morin. John McLean swats at it. And then it is forced back in by Brian Bonnen, and a little tricky one for Mike Richter. He just decides to hang on to it now. 12 shots to 7 Rangers, no score in the game so far. Trevor and Ty looking on. Jan Hrdina in on the faceoff for Pittsburgh. There you see Ty and Trevor Gretcki right down next to the ice with souvenir pucks. Wouldn't have much trouble getting an autograph, would they?
One of the little guys, Wayne asked me the other day, "You gonna go to the game and see my last game?" He said, "Dad, I got a baseball game. Do I have to go?"
Barnaby a shot, and that one saved by Richter. Puck controlled to the corner and then flung around by Rob Brown. Chopped on back by Warenka, and it's collared by Matthew Schneider, and Schneider just lobs it back to neutral ice. Well, Paulina, his daughter, did not come to the press conference, did she?
No, she was, Wayne said that she didn't want to get too teary-eyed and see a lot of sadness, even though he turned it into a celebration on his own. Most of us were the ones that were sad.
Finesse toward Barrasso, but off his big pad. Worked for behind by Mike Knuble. Trying to work to the front was Graves. Moving in and twisting with it now is Savard. Savard able to get it back to Schneider. Schneider fakes the drive, steps by, shooting, and it's blocked by the defense of Warenka. Hoisted back on for the Penguins to bring out. And it's backhanded in, and then heading to the bench is Brown. This will be an icing call, and so play will be stopped. Sam Rosen spoke with Mario Lemieux just literally seconds ago.
Mario, your thoughts about wanting to be here on this day for Wayne?
Well, I wanted to be here. It's a very special day. I have certainly mixed emotions. One, I'm happy for Wayne because of I think he's making the right decision. He's accomplished so much throughout his career, and the other side is hockey's losing the greatest player ever, and that's why it's sad. But I'm happy for him and his family, and I wish him nothing but the best in the future.
You were rivals on the ice. One day you might wind up as rival owners.
Well, it's a possibility. I'm trying to do the best thing for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I'm sure that eventually he wants to be an owner as well. So maybe in a couple of years we'll be facing each other again.
Great to see you. Thanks for being here.
All right, Sam. Thank you.
Mario Lemieux indeed doing the best he can for the city of Pittsburgh and that storied franchise that he brought to such prominence.
Well, I hope he can get it taken care of, Mike, and that has to happen probably in the next couple of months, knowing that you have to be able to sell everything for next season to get to business, to do your work. And let's hope it works for Mario and for the Penguins and for the city of Pittsburgh.
Puck chipped to the front, and Richter will just trap. They've lost 3,700 season ticket holders over the last couple of years. They are at 8,300 now, according to last reports. They'd like to get back to that good 12,000 level. They've offered a tremendous package for the playoffs. You can get 12 games for as low as $216. That's $18 a game. They want the place sold out. They want crowd support, and they want to show the citizens of the Pittsburgh area that they mean business, and they're anxious as all get out to not only have a good team, but to stay.
Well, they get the rust off of Tommy Barrasso, and Jaromir Jagr tunes in like only Jagr can in this league right now. It'll be a very dangerous club in the playoffs.
Sundstrom and McLean, the wingers for Wayne Gretzky, and the pass is brought over by Leach, moves up with Gretzky and gives to him. Gretzky, big drive, it's deflected and it went just wide, and it's tipped back out. And there to gather it in is Popovich.
He loves to shoot high to the catching glove side. Many of his goals have been scored on that spot. And that time he just missed. One of the great ones he said he ever scored was a shot to that spot above the catching glove of Mike Vernon, at the time playing for the Calgary Flames. What a battle that used to be. Mike was a great goaltender and still is in those Battle of Alberta days.
Sundstrom on back to Tamer. That paddled away by Barrasso, chipped by Sundstrom around to Gretzky. Flip one in front, and it's knifed away by Kovalov on defense.
Again, Gretzky's there, Mike, and Hatcher's there against him.
Gretzky feeds to the back. Oh, and it skipped off the stick, and so Schneider will drop back for it, and then it's pinballed off him.
If you notice, now Gretzky goes off, so does Hatcher. Hatcher's got the long reach, so he doesn't have to go chase Gretzky behind the net. He's using that long reach to try to stop those very impressive passes that Gretzky has made for 30 years, 35 years.
Tamer with the hard blast. Wayne Gretzky has scored off tons of goaltenders, but in 3 games against my partner, he never beat him.
A few assists, though.
Here's Tamer, shoveling one, juggled and held by Barrasso. Coming up at the New Dodge intermission, Sam Rosen will talk to the great one, Wayne Gretzky. Plus, Susie Kolber will bring you scores and highlights. That's all next at intermission.
Wayne got a call this morning from Michael Jordan telling Wayne to enjoy the day. It'll be yours. Just enjoy it as much as you can. Wayne had a quiet night last night. Got home around 5 and was up early this morning. And it's a beautiful day here in New York City. We're very well organized, extremely organized about everything. There he is, the big boy. And do they love him here? They just showed him up on the big screen, the applause. Mark played some great hockey here in this city, and does he love to come back? And do they love to have him back, Mike?
Well, you never cease being a fan favorite here, do you? Big shot by Popovich, blocked in front. Loose puck came on back. Well, that's not always the case, but in his case, it's never going to fail. Puck chipped ahead.
That may have been Barrasso's best save, the last one.
Popovich shot is blocked down, angled back, and then feathered further. But Gretzky at the bench right now in the last 7 seconds of this first period, but Sam Rosen will get his thoughts during our upcoming intermission.
Shot 60 and 8 in favor of the Rangers, and both goaltenders were very, very good. I think you'll see the tempo and a little bit of bumping pick up as we move on.
That's the end of the first period with the score. Wayne Gretzky and his Rangers nothing, the Penguins nothing.
He said the best money goaltender I ever played against, Billy Smith. And a lot of people have thought about that, huh, Mike, over the years?
Billy Smith, who authored the New York Islanders 4 consecutive championships in the early 1980s.
He said that's the best money goaltender he ever played against, and that's a nice compliment for Billy, who's now on the coaching staff with the Florida Panthers.
You don't often describe a goaltender as a fierce warrior. Billy Smith was. Sundstrom tried to knock that one away so that it could be played by John McClain, but instead it's thrown back out by Straka, worked back ahead up the wing, and tossed to the front of the net by Rob Brown, but that broken up. Played along to the corner and worked back for John McClain. McClain works it back over for Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky motoring ahead with it now. Wayne Gretzky controlling in the traffic. Watched by Hatcher. Threw one in front, scramble there, and kicking out was Barrasso, and he's able to punch it away. Oh, a sparkling play by Tom Barrasso. Or it might have been a point for Wayne Gretzky on the setup. Turned around behind off of Popovich's stick. Picked up by the Penguins, Jaromir Jagr, pursued by McClain. Jagr, nice finesse move, got it to the back, and then second thought brushed through, that time by the defense of Ian Moran. John Herdina. But then on the outside it came to Warenka. Warenka turned it around for Jagr. Jagr peeling with it, watched by Leach. Jagr forced further. Puck dropped on and carried back out again for a pass over to Savard. Oh, and it would have been an offside pass had it been a holdup by Leach. Puck knocked away by Savard, then spiked away from the front of the net. Worked back away from Schneider and back down, and there'll be an icing touch-up coming here from Tamer. Well, in that first period of play, the Bud Light stat board shows us the following. 16 shots for the Rangers and 8 for the Penguins. Scoring chances 5-4 in favor of the Rangers. The faceoffs 10-6 Pittsburgh, and just one minor penalty.
Rangers just had a scoring chance a moment ago. Gretzky with a backhand turnaround forehand pass, flipped it up, and you can see in front Nicholas Sundstrom couldn't handle a puck. Tom Barrasso aggressively got across to chip the puck away. Here's Gretzky again, stays away from 4 different Penguins. Takes a look and makes the pass in front. The plays are close to clicking, but they haven't clicked just yet in this game for Gretzky.
Gretzky resting right now. Number 99 will not be worn again. Wilf Paymont wore it for Toronto. 1979-82 as a shot by Mike Knuble got the glass. Leo Borgo and Joe Lamb both wore 99 for the Montreal Canadiens in the 34-35 season, when there were a lot of high numbers. Rick Dudley in Buffalo wore number 17 at the start.
At the start.
Yes, but then away he went. Remember Brian Lawton of the Minnesota North Stars wore 98. He said, not as good as Gretzky, I just want to be in the neighborhood.
Rick Dudley is now the general manager of the Ottawa Senators. He was telling a story about wearing number 99 with Winnipeg, I think, at the time. And he went into Edmonton He said he got booed off the ice. How dare you come in here wearing number 99? And he was laughing, giggling about it a little bit.
Puck comes back to the point, and it's held there by Tamer. Dub shot by Matthew Schneider. Rangers try to cycle it along. It came from Knuble. Knuble wearing the double number 2. You know where I'm headed with this one, don't you? Was there a goaltender in the history of this storied franchise who wore 00 at one time?
You know, the best thing about that, Mike,
What?
it's now against the rules of the National Hockey League to wear 00.
Should it be?
Yes, it should.
How many
Actually,
games did you wear 00?
Oh, I don't know. Not that many. But you know what happened was Rod Gilbert had number 7. It was retired. Phil Esposito came here, and he decided to wear 77. So he asked if he could get some help because nobody did too many things like that in those days. I said, sure. What do you want me to do? Just wear 00. I said, Phil. He says, please. I said, okay. And that was not a smart move. Not at all.
This is Morozov behind. Circling with it is Lang. A shot. Save. Richter, and he covers. Okay, why wasn't it a smart move?
It just invited too much aggravation, Mike. It really did.
From fans?
From fans, from everybody. And when you have people screaming, that's not your goals against average, is it? And they had a good point. Wayne Gretzky, again, we mentioned it during the first period, will use 40 different sticks in this game. Mike Folga, the trainer, got them all going. Look, this is kind of a sped-up version of what he went through in warm-up. Handle a puck a few times, go in and make a play. Head to the bench. Mike Folga was there. Handoff. Here we go. With a big smile. You'll have a brand new jersey on now for this second period. There we go. Handoff again. The handoffs worked well. Mike Folga was exhausted. He had to take 40 of these sticks, get them ready. Mike, they had a big pail of powder, talcum powder. And he likes to put powder on the blade on the tape to make it a little softer to handle the puck properly. They had a big pail of this stuff going in and out with these sticks.
So 4 jerseys, you think, today, and 40 sticks, was it?
40 sticks, 3 jerseys for sure, and possibly 1 after warm-up.
Puck tipped to neutral ice and regathered by the defense for the Penguins. It is Yager having dropped back into that location. Now it's worked on a cross for Slager. Big drive, deflected up into the seats. Play is stopped. 3:07 gone, second period. We still have no score at Madison Square Garden on Fox. Grettzky gets the puck on the right to McSorley. Set it to Grettzky. Grettzky in on the face-off with Martin Straka of Pittsburgh.
Gretzky's trying to set up John McLean for some type of play. See, McLean's trying to get loose. Gretzky couldn't move the puck over the blue line. He tried to on that play.
Sundstrom, but that one bounced back, spiked back to neutral ice, though, by Peter Popovich.
A whole lot of Slager and Hatcher on the ice whenever Gretzky's out there. And a number of times Gretzky's line's been out there when Yager's line's been on the ice.
That one kicked out from Gretzky. Sundstrom fed one, but that one cut off. And twirling on back with it and having some trouble is Straka. Straka hooked at Slager, left it behind, still with some trouble. Can't get it out. Gretzky on back, gets it back again. Finessed one across. He faked the big drive and tried to connect with McLean, but that went off his stick. Now it's Gretzky around behind. Dribbles one to the front that's knocked away by the defense of Hatcher. And floated back to neutral ice. 3:50 gone, second period. No score in the game. In the midst of a change, the Rangers. It's angled back ahead for Martin Straka, but dug out by Leach. Back ahead with it comes Kevin Stevens, broken up by Slager. Rob Brown twisted it ahead, but it's Manny Malhotra for the Rangers. Nice kick to control. Langdon put one off the goalkeeper Barrasso. It's swatted behind by Stevens. Malhotra turns with it there. Malhotra on the cycle for Langdon. Langdon spun by Hatcher. Puck dug out by Malhotra. Good hit on him. Langdon continuing to work for the Rangers in this scoreless game. 3 shots apiece this period. Reaching for that one and trying to steer it to the front was Malhotra. Now it's Stevens circling. Stevens fed it to the back. Rumenender lifted one that's grabbed by Barrasso, and play is stopped.
Like in Ottawa during the Rangers' last game in Canada, as things heat up here a little bit. The CTV network up there ran a graphic of the top 10 Gretzky's moments in his own memories. So I asked him about them. He said, number 10, top moment for me, or hockey memories, would be playing with the New York Rangers, number 10. Number 9, his first NHL goal against goaltender Glenn Hanlon. Number 8, 1987, they won the Canada Cup, beating the Russian team. It was a great series. Number 7 goal, 8:02. And that was against Vancouver's Kirk McLean. And number 6 was the '83 All-Star game, in which he scored 4 goals in the 3rd period on Long Island. And it was interesting to sit down with Wayne and say, "Oh, here's your top 10." He said, "I'm going to revise it and make a couple of changes," which he did. And we'll go over the other 5 a little later in the broadcast. But he knew in order where they were, what they were, and what meant the most to him of all his memories.
Langdon, a roughing penalty at 4:39, so the Rangers will be shorthanded. We mentioned he felt Billy Smith was the toughest goaltender to play against. Mark Messier was the best teammate he had. Mario Lemieux, the toughest opponent that he had during that period of time.
The goaltender he scored the most goals on was Richard Brodeur with 29 of those. Mike Liut, 23 times he scored on him. And in the playoffs, the most goals he scored was 12 against Mike Vernon, as far as one goaltender goes.
Glenn Hanlon, ex-Ranger.
Yeah, good guy, coaching in Vancouver with the Canucks.
It is Yager chipping one along and an offside call. So Glenn Hanlon yielded his first goal, and in the career of Mike Gartner, Mr. Hanlon gave up goals number 100, 200, and 300. I don't think I'm going to get any calls or any cards from Glenn Hanlon. Good guy, though.
Oh, great guy.
Throw that in.
Here is Glenn Hanlon in goal. Caught with the left hand, and Grettzky on the backhand, and there's the pump. His last goal he has scored, that was against Wade Flaherty of the Islanders, and there it is. He chipped it in to break the record on March 29th, held by Gordie Howe. By the way, that's in the top 5 of his favorites. Yeah, and so it should have been. That was a game winner, by the way, in the win over the Islanders.
More assists than anybody ever had points. Points, for those of you who don't follow hockey a lot, are goals and assists added together. The column of points. Here's Yager dealing one along on this power play for Pittsburgh. Jaromir Jagr working the outside. Just looks over the traffic, deals it around behind. Brown tapped it back over to Jagr. 5.5 gone, second period. Nearing the halfway point of the power play. Oh, and a shot to the front by Andrusak is blocked down by the defense. Teams won't say what their preference is, but during the season, Pittsburgh won 1 out of 5 from New Jersey. Against Ottawa, the Penguins had 2 wins, a loss, and a tie. If nothing changes and the Penguins lose this game, they would wind up playing New Jersey, the team that they have the much poorer record against during the regular season. If they win, they would temporarily go ahead of Buffalo, but Buffalo doesn't play until 6 o'clock today against Washington. So an interesting combination of starting times and scenarios and scoreboard watching today.
Dominic Hasek, don't forget that. Could be a factor along the way here.
Think he'll play? Here's Kovalov moving in. Kovalov eyed up by Tamer. Alexei Kovalov on this power play that's got 12 seconds to go, and it's cleared back down to the Rangers.
Excellent penalty kill by the Rangers, as the Penguins, who have 3 lines of good offensive players, they just can't get set at all. They can't get the puck into the Rangers zone as the power play expires.
Kip Miller onto Jagr now. Jagr defended by Rumenender. Fed onto the back. Shovel shot by Moran went wide. Penalty time is up. The teams are back at full strength. No score in the game. 13:05 to go, second period. The battle continues on the wall, and it's Jagr emerging. Jaromir Jagr forced to the line, but not out. Puck broken down, though, and Graves can start it ahead. It's shuttled right back along for the Penguins to attack again. Kip Miller's pass bounced over to Jagr, set it up to Straka. Straka couldn't get the wrist shot away, and the Rangers twirl with it and bring it back out. Nice job of controlling by Savard, and then it's knifed wide by Graves. Fired around for the keep by Leach. Steps by one. Leach hooked at. Got it to Savard, and a pad stop made by Barrasso. Rebound, and it's whipped along to the near wall. Fed to the front, and it pinballed off the skates of Langdon. Graves there shuttles it around to Savard again. Tried to get it to Langdon. Diving out to stop the pass was Barrasso, and play halted. Still no score because of this guy and Richter.
Wayne Grettzky just jumped off the bench. You know, Mike, this morning I got up real early to start to surf the net, go over newspapers, sporting sections from all over countries. There was an interesting note in the Toronto Sun written. Terry Bevington is the third base coach for the Toronto Blue Jays. He had a quote in there saying, what Grettzky did in his career was like Mark McGwire hitting 70 home runs 15 straight seasons. Think about that for a second when you think of Gretzky's numbers. And he's the man that said it. That was an interesting way of looking at what Gretzky's done in his career when you try to get a baseball person to talk about a hockey person.
Before Gretzky came, the most points in one year was 152. Phil Esposito had that many. Grettzky has passed that 9 times. Sam Rosen is downstairs with, guess who? Phil Esposito.
All right, I've got the Hall of Famer Phil Esposito with me. Phil, you had some great records which Wayne smashed. What were your thoughts at the time when Wayne was breaking those great records?
Well, I remember I was with him when he broke the goal scoring record in Buffalo. I followed him around 2 games. I said to him, "Yeah, you're going to do it, you know, please." So I got to get home, and I was with him there. But one thing I've learned in this business, I'm very proud of what I did in this game, and for Wayne Gretzky to come along and break the records, and if somebody ever comes along and breaks Wayne's records, first off, I think it'll be a miracle. Wayne will do like I did. Hey, look, that's part of the game. You know, at least you are the first to do these things. And that's what I'm most proud of.
Great to see you, Phil.
Well, thanks. This is quite a night.
Okay, Phil Esposito with Sam Rosen. Did you notice they framed up on camera just like they used to in the early 80s? My partner, John Davidson, works with Sam on a regular basis doing the Rangers games. Before that time, though, it was Sam and Phil.
It really was, and they had some fun doing it, too. Now, oh boy, projected ages to break these records. Solani would take till 48, Yager 46, Lindros 46, and Korea 48. And you know what? That's the average career points per game they've had so far. Oh my, that tells you another. Just when it's mind-boggling when you really think of what this man's been able to do at this league, at this level. Just flat out amazing.
He had gotten 92 goals earlier in his career, and before the 85-86 season, he said, "I want to score 100 goals this year." He only got 52, but he got 215 points. No one's ever done that. The question is, will anyone, and who cares what the answer is now. Battled along by Matthew Barnaby. Tamer ties up his man, nearing the halfway point of the game. Drive, oh, and Richter with a wonderful grab of a bullet shot from Brad Wawrinka.
Yeah, that was a good low shot and may have deflected into the catching glove of Mike Richter, maybe off his own goal stick. Richter's had a great season, great season, maybe the Rangers MVP. The puck will go back to the point where Wawrinka is waiting for it. There it goes. Here's the slap shot, and Richter somehow through traffic comes up with one of his top 2 saves in the game. The in the net cam look at it. Great catching glove save by Mike Richter. Both he and Tom Barrasso here this afternoon in New York have been extremely sharp.
Off this came back over to Matthew Schneider. Schneider controlling for the Rangers with 10:50 to go here in the second period. Lobbed ahead. Sven Butenschan out of Germany went for that one, but Ian Moran controlled. Bang back out by Tamer. 7 different countries represented on this Pittsburgh team. Wayne Gretzky has seen a lot of changes since he entered the NHL in 1979. And even though there were Swedish-born players in the league at that time, the addition of players from Russia, Latvia, the Czech Republic, Slovakia. Still the battle on. Fed back through for control to neutralize. Langdon laid it across, brought on by Tamer. Tamer creeping in. Chris Tamer trickled one that's guided away by Barrasso. And breaking in, hoping to capitalize, was Langdon. Started back now by Barnaby. Matt Barnaby back for a shot by Brown that went off of Richter and skipped wide. Wawrinka swats it around behind. Popovich takes it there. Popovich turned it back along, and the pinching defenseman Slager fires it back further. Jaromir Jagr wanted to get to it, but instead it's Popovich. Puck kicked onto the back. It's Straka taking over. Straka, Jagr. The pass from Brown wouldn't reach him. Jagr must play and neutralize now and lay it on back to Straka. Forced back across to Slager, who walks it on. Popovich challenging him. Knocked down by Sundstrom, steered ahead to Gretzky, laid on to John McClain, moving in, fired, save, Barrasso.
Was that a delayed shot, change-up type?
Little
Trying to go
half-speeder.
through the legs? Yeah, it looked like either that or Jagr got back nicely to break up the shot, or at least part of the shot by John McClain.
Here's Sundstrom turning on. Sundstrom around behind, worked on by Slager. Puck came back over for Gretzky. Throws it to the front, oh, and it went off the stick of John McClain. And a big ooh goes up from the crowd as back on comes Jagr for Pittsburgh. Jaromir Jagr cruising for the Penguins. Threw one blindly across, and the Rangers started back out. It's McClain moving up with Gretzky in a 2-on-1. Fed over to McClain with Gretzky breaking. Threw it across the net mouth. wide, and Grettzky had already been taken around behind the net by Alexei Kovalov. Centering pass, diving out is Barrasso, doesn't have it yet, and Dallas comes by. Bobby Dallas on defense for Pittsburgh, fires it back around the wall. It rimmed back over to Morozov, but it's cut off on an offside with 8:32 to go in the second, and this game is still 0-0. No score in the game. The shots are 22-12 in favor of the Rangers. Tom Barrasso flipped that one. It looked like it went out of play at the Ranger bench, and sure enough it did. Let's check in with Sam Rosen.
Thanks, Mike. I'm here with Paul Coffey. Paul, so many years, was part of Wayne's great career. Tell us about that great unit of five. What made it so special? What made Wayne so special on the ice?
Well, I think the same thing that makes him special now. He's just such a great hockey player. I was sitting there in the first period and watched him make a pass over 4 sticks that nobody could make but him, and he's just a great student of the game and understands the game to perfection. That's probably what makes him such a great player.
Are you surprised he's retiring now?
Surprised, but selfishly, I'd like him to keep playing, but I think it's a great move for him.
Well, it's great to see you. Good luck in the playoffs.
Okay, Sam, thanks very much.
Okay, Paul Coffey, back to you, Mike.
And John.
You know, Mike, Yari Curry scored 196 times when Grettzky assisted on it. Coffey next in line at 116. Messier 68 times. So Paul Coffey, on 116 of those big ones with Wayne Grettzky involved.
Best recent Ranger chance was that shot just a moment ago by Mike Knuble that glanced off the post. Puck out to the front, knocked away. Savard couldn't come up with it. Instead, it's Morozov leading it ahead in a 3-on-2. Morozov hands over to Robert Lang. Lang to Morozov. Across, score! What a 3-on-2 break. Morozov connecting back across.
And Alexei Kovalov gets the goal. The former New York Ranger. Mike, it was a 3-on-2, a beautiful passing, wasn't it? Just, you admire spectacular goals. You can see back where the Rangers checker going to get back is trapped. 3-on-2. Kovalov will eventually get the goal. Watch him sweep the puck. Open net. Richter with his great lateral movement could not get across. Morozov across. Kovalov just let her roll. Lang in on the play. Lang, by the way, coming back from a bad ankle. And he's in the lineup. And that line's played pretty well. Rangers are down by 1. Here's Grettzky on the bench knowing that they just gave up 1 and they're down 1. 7:47 now to go here in the second period. That was a beautiful goal.
Kovalov, for the year, has his 23rd. Morozov and Lang get the assists at 12-13, and so Pittsburgh has struck first. Lob back in, wide of Richter. Shouldered is Bonin. Around behind, twisting with this is Tyler Wright. Checking unit is out now for Pittsburgh, and they're trying to provide a little bit of offense here. Ender seals up Bonin to the wall. Tyler Wright muscled off and carried to the boards. Kevin Stevens, the ex-Penguin, did that. Then Wright is pawed down. Brennan cams it ahead, and it went out of play at the Pittsburgh bench. And so 7:06 to go in the second period. Alexei Kovalov, the ex-Ranger, has had a pretty good go of it in Pittsburgh this year with 23 goals. One of those guys, when he first came into the league, they thought he might be 40, 45. And he might be headed in that direction now, finally.
This is his 63rd game as a Penguin. He has 46 points now. Kovalov was traded for for Peter Nedved. Kovalov traded for Peter Nedved. Nedved had 20 goals and 27 assists in the 56 games he played. So point-wise, they were pretty close, Nedved and Kovalov. Nedved out of the lineup, as you mentioned earlier, Mike, with the rib injury. So the Penguins get one. Grettzky on the ice, and he gets to look at the defense pairing again. We keep mentioning it, but the Pittsburgh Penguins are making sure they're on the ice. That's the long reach of Kevin Hatcher and the good solid play of Yuri Slager, the defense pairing for Grettzky. And it seems like Straka's line and a lot of Yager out there at the same time.
Indeed, it's fed back around, and it is Richter playing it on the hop, forcing it back. Jaromir Jagr spun one across the net mouth wide, and it's gotten by Grettzky. Grettzky led a pass ahead. It is walked on now by Sundstrom. Big drive, fought off by Barrasso. Rebound on! It was sent wide by McLean. Around off the back, John McLean up with it. Forced to the corner by Straka. Moving on in is Leach. Finesse back onto McLean. Fed it back for Popovich. Flopped one, and it came to Grettzky, who tried to backhand it, but it's blocked off by Slager on defense. Fired back around and away from Popovich and down the ice, and Richter will have to come out and play this. No icing, as we're down to the last 6:25 of the second period. Penguins ahead in the game by a count of 1-0 on a 3-on-2 combination that resulted in a goal for Alexei Kovalov. Laid ahead for Grettzky, but under his stick, Slager connects back ahead. Left behind by Morozov, and that's enough for a halt to play on the offside. Now it's time for our Oracle trivia question. What player has been on the receiving end of the most Grettzky assists? We're just asking you this to see if you've been listening carefully.
Good one,
there
Mike.
it is.
Way to stick out.
Well, let's watch.
Yeah.
Let's watch some of this magic here. Yari
Grettzky.
Curry is 17.
That was a no-look pass. Yari Curry could snap the puck. Look at that, right over the shoulder. Gretzky, Curry. Oh, baby. Gretzky, Curry. Oh, beautiful, beautiful goals. And they did it in Edmonton at such high speed, high pace, game after game after game.
Grant Fuhr was such a tremendous goaltender for that club during that time because the pace was so high that there were times he was pretty much alone. And the magnificence he had in the playoffs, plus the offense that they had at the other end, just made them incapable of being dominated. 5 cups won by the Edmonton Oilers, small town of 380,000. Big drive, deflected away and trapped by Kovalov. He may be hurt. And the Penguins do not want to see this. They had to scratch 7 guys with injury today. But fortunately, he gets out.
Yeah, he looks to be okay. This is the line that scored the goal. With Alexei Kovalov and Morozov and Lang on the ice. Kovalov makes a nice play here. You see the slap shot. Boy, Kovalov makes a nice play, blocks one for the team, and they still have the 1-0 lead.
If you add together World Hockey Association and NHL and regular season and playoffs, this becomes game number 1788. What do you think Wayne would think his best game ever was in the professional ranks in North America?
In the professional ranks, that was back when he played in the '87 Canada Cup, Mike. It was against the Russians in game 2, double overtime. They won it 6-5, and he had 5 assists.
5 assists.
5 assists. That was the best one overall.
Well, where was he on the 6th? My, 5 assists in a Canada Cup game.
And the reason he says that is because it was against the competition. Those were the best that the Russians had. It was a great, great, great game.
Rob Brown brings it ahead. Good thump on him by Brennan. Brown gets up, but it is taken away by Darren Langdon. Swept ahead now for Stevens. Kevin Stevens swatted it on his backhand back in deep. Malhotra rams into his man. It came around away from Langdon. Dropped on back by Matthew Barnaby. Some rugged customers out here right now. Oh, man. That was Kevin Stevens putting the hit on Warenka, and it's played back along by Brown. Penguins having trouble getting out of their own end. I understand it. Warenka with a pass that would have been over 2 lines and thus illegal. It'll be an icing touch-up anyway. With 4.5 to go in the second period, and Kovalov's goal for Pittsburgh is the only one so far. Pittsburgh ahead. Gretzky out. Kovalov from Morozov and Lang at 12:13 elapsed time in this second period. The only goal-scoring play. Yuri Slager. As John has been pointing out, he's been out there with Kevin Hatcher on every Gretzky shift today. Laid ahead now for Jaromir Jagr. Jagr crosses, tried for Straka, blocked away, picked up by Gretzky. He starts on. Wayne Gretzky dropped it back over to Leach. Leach curling, got it to Gretzky for a shot, deflected by Jagr. Gretzky tries to center, put it off the back of the goal. Slager reaches and swats it away.
Now, Jagr playing pretty defensive on that play. Took away the slap shot of Gretzky. Straka, Jagr, and Miller. The forward line with this defense pairing you talked about, Mike. Just about every shift now. It's 5-on-5 here. The Gretzky line against the Straka line.
That one chipped back down, and Jagr might get there first, so for that reason, Richter has to come out and play it. Along to Gretzky. It's skipped by his stick and is taken by Leach. Brian Leach, captain of the Rangers, leads on to McLean, then to Gretzky. Pivots, trying to shake Andrusak. Pass escaped away from Leach. Over to Sundstrom, and a rising shot got the glass. Gretzky up with it again, trying to finesse through Andrusak, couldn't. Brought back out again by Tyler Wright, and Wright dumps it back in deep. Racing to it was Brian Bonin. Puck taken by Sundstrom and turned around behind. Laid back on now for a little sweep back by Savard. And it must be bounced off for Peter Popovich. Rangers having some difficulty getting out right now. And it's Bobby Dallas taking over with 3:10 left in the second period. The shots are 23-13 Rangers, but Tom Barrasso has gotten all 23. Fed back on for Bonin. Rangers with plenty of defenders back, so this has to be deliberate. Wright drives one back in, and reaching it to paddle it loose is Richter. So Matthew Schneider, Manhattan born. That one chopped loose over for Barnaby, fed one, but some good work on the back check, and so Richter can hang on. Let's hear from Sam Rosen again. Sam?
Thanks so much, Mike, and I'm here with Mark Messier. He and Wayne Gretzky pairing up for so many great years in Edmonton, one here in New York. Tell us your feelings on this day, Mark.
Well, it's hard to describe, really. I think that I've just been pretty filled up with a lot of emotions over the last couple of days. Obviously, Wayne was a tremendous friend, you know, great teammate, a great champion, and just really has made me reflect on all the things that have gone by between us and everything over the last 20 years. It's been a pretty emotional couple of days.
When he called you, were you surprised that he was retiring?
Well, like you always hear, when there's smoke, there's fire, and I guess that you know, it's a tough game, and you're not totally in. You know, it gets dangerous, and you got to be completely ready to play every night. If you're not, it's a tough game.
Great to see you, Mark. Good luck. Back to Mike and JD.
Okay, thank you, Sam. When the Edmonton Oilers joined the NHL from the WHA in 1979, Wayne Gretzky was 17, Mark Messier was 18, Kevin Lowe was 20. And Glenn Sather was a little bit older than that, but he knew Dynasty when he saw it.
Yeah, he was the father, too. He took care of all these guys and let them grow, but also took care of them. You know, you talk about some of the top 50 scorers all time. Those were all our top 5 scorers of all time. Of the top 50, these are 5 of them. Gretzky, Messier, Coffey, Curry, and Anderson. You just think about those. Over 1,000 each.
And only Anderson played for Toronto. Anderson played a little bit for Toronto.
Right.
As a result,
yeah, exactly.
if you look at those guys, now Messier's still playing. But I really like, with Gretzky's retirement today, the NHL Heroes of Hockey's chances against the Maple Leafs Heroes of Hockey next year at the All-Star Weekend. I like their chances a lot.
When Sam just interviewed Mark Messier, he talked about the call. The Rangers arrived from Ottawa the other night after their game, a tie-up in Ottawa, and on the way home, that's when Wayne Gretzky called Mark Messier to tell him about the retirement and everything that he was going to do, and that was the good communication of those two players, and one of the reasons why Mark is here today.
Oh, Yager pulled a man down, and the Rangers will get a power play. The man was Leach. With a minute 45 to go in the second, the Rangers with a chance to knot the game.
Second penalty of the game for Jaromir Jagr. You don't see that too often.
Yager tripping at 18:15. That means a minute 45 to go in the period. Gretzky tried to fight through, could not. It's laid back down. So Richter out to jab it along. Gretzky will work with John McLean and with Adam Graves this time. Drilled back in by Schneider. Yeah. Thrown off by Hatcher. So a good start to the kill for Pittsburgh. Graves and Gretzky still up front. Schneider will work one point, Brian Leach the other once they get it set up. That one went off the shoulder of Ian Moran, collared by Tyler Wright. John McLean on him in the final minute of this second period. Wawrinka stoked it back off the wall, and here's a chance for the striding of Tyler Wright. I beg your pardon, that's Moran. Moran held off to the boards, and the stick goes flying in the air as we're down to the last 43.
Really reminds me of the Pittsburgh game with Detroit last Sunday. They shut Detroit out in Detroit, taking away the quality ice. In other words, the spot on the ice where you want to get your good shots from.
Gretzky feeds Schneider, finesse one in front, they score! At the side of the net, a feed from Gretzky came across to the slot. Matthew Schneider fired, and it careened in.
They stand and they applaud. The assist will go to Wayne Gretzky. 29.9 seconds to go in the second period. The power play goes to work. That's Leach on the puck. Leach will go around and stand. The pass goes to Schneider from Gretzky. The fake play, and there's Leach, the two defensemen in tight on the play. Marvelous. Gretzky, quality ice. Well, there it is for the first time. And what a pass. Little redirection by Leach. It'll be Leach. from Schneider and Grettzky. We're tied at 1.
Fitting enough, it was a power play goal. Fitting enough that it came late in the second period. Big grin because the announcement has just come that Wayne Grettzky gets the secondary assist. So a 1-1 tie and a backhander turned aside by Barrasso. Kip Miller brings it ahead. Puck squirts loose. Popovich there. Hands it back across. Tamer turned it back out. Little trouble there for Savard. The chant is Grettzky. Knuble fed one through. Hooked off was Kevin Stevens. The buzzer and the second period. The Rangers have 1 goal. Wayne Grettzky has 1 assist. Third period starts with Wayne Grettzky on the ice, and John McLean and Nicholas Sundstrom. Leach back on defense, as well as Popovich. It is Straka, it is Jágr, and it is also Kip Miller for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Back over to Jágr. Flipped one for Miller, knocked away by Sundstrom. And Sundstrom leads it on to Grettzky. Grettzky pitchforks it back to the corner. Yuri Slager back to play that. Pushed that one, but it went right off the defense. Taken along now by Sundstrom. Close quarters for Grettzky, but Slager on him. Moving forward is John McLean. McLean shuttled it, hoping to get to Grettzky, but instead it's Straka, and the Penguins can shift back to offense. Jaromir Jágr brings it ahead. Wants to dance by Leach on defense. Pulls up and feeds, and that one cut off, and Grettzky steers it ahead for McLean. Forced right back. Jágr gets onside. Miller with a pass off Jágr's stick. Grabbed off and then slung back out again by Savard. And a pass over 2 lines stops the clock 59 seconds into the third period.
You never know if this game gets to an empty net situation, but Grettzky even has 55 of those in his career, if you can imagine.
How did he get 99? He went to Sault Ste. Marie in the Ontario Junior Hockey Association. He wanted number 9 because he had always idolized Gordie Howe, but 9 was taken by an older player. So he shifted to 19 and then eventually was convinced by his coach, Muzz McPherson, to go to 99. And that's been the number ever since. And for those of you just joining us, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman announced today that no one again in the future of the NHL will ever wear that number. Puck popped high, jabbed along now for Kovalov. Kovalov shakes it further, and it's Lang bringing it ahead. Lang tried to get by the defense, could not do it. Andrusak gives back across. Bobby Dallas cranks it back in. Little trouble for Tamer because of Kovalov's checking. Dealt back to the half boards and kept alive by Lang. On back to Andrusak. Drive! Oh, and that hit someone in front. Another try knocked down by the defense. 2 blocks in front of the Ranger goal. Penguins trying to break this tie. This is a game of significance to them. Worked on the outside now by Morozov.
And this is the line that has the Penguin goal in the game, scored by Kovalov on a beautiful passing play.
Forced off of Lang. Buffalo plays Washington later. Buffalo ahead of the Penguins for 7th by 1. Backhand attempt by Kovalov is snuffed out and thrown away by Schneider. Chipped on back, and Graves forces it further. Worked quickly back on now for Morozov. Morozov had a stick turned into the puck. Technically, that could have been an interference call against the Rangers.
Yeah, Matthew Schneider swiped the stick of Tamer that was sitting on the ice. And you're right, Mike. That should have been a 2-minuter.
Malhotra gave that one up, turned back along by Sven Butenshawn and rolled to neutral ice, but it's easily played by Brennan back over to Rumenender. Blocked by Barrasso. Shoved away, but to take it is Langdon. Dumped it around behind. Malhotra turning with it there. Manny Malhotra to the corner. Good shove by Stevens. Puck pumped away from Ender and brought back ahead. Rob Brown wants to shake his way by the defense. Worked on by Brennan. The two of them cancel. Matthew Barnaby moves by. Barnaby had his stick held, but persists. It's Barnaby getting to the slot. Matthew Barnaby turns and swung one wide. Fighting his way free is Brown. Pursued again by Brennan. But now it's Langdon again. Langdon able to jam one to neutral ice. Just over 3 minutes gone here in the third period. Another shift change for the Rangers. John McClain is back out along with Gretcki. Moving back in is Miller with a shot that's snuffed out by the defense. Leach able to lead it over. And it's Sundstrom with a pass ahead to Gretcki. Wayne Gretcki moves in and everyone stands. It's fed back to Leach and a shot is fought off by Barrasso. Jammed right back into the corner and knifed back to the point. Popovich able to keep it alive there. Off of Sundstrom and now Straka. Gretcki no sooner headed up the wing and almost 18,000 stood at the same time. A little back pass by Yager, and it's turned away, and Gretcki can start back up with it. Wayne Gretcki able to fiddle it as far as center ice, and then it careened back ahead. Pretty healthy hit put on Sundstrom. Laid back out again by Hatcher. Shaken back and turning with it is McClain, close quarters to Gretcki, but that pass broken up by the defense and sent out with 4 minutes gone in the third. Another change in lines. Gretcki comes to the bench, a steal by Kovalov, and the feed for Lang, followed up by Dallas with a shot, and it went wide. Great chance there for the Penguins to break the tie. Turning with it now is Lang. Lang looking to the front, tucked a little pass in front that is grabbed by Knuble. Mike Knuble forced off by Morozov, but he's able to tuck it back out to neutral ice, and the Penguins can control there. Dump back away from Kovalov and retrieved by the Rangers' Chris Tamer. The shots are 27-13 in this game. Gretcki has an assist if you're just joining us. But one of the more sparkling plays that did not result in the point today was a marvelous pass from the left wing offensive side of the ice to the right that almost resulted in a goal. Back ahead with this now, trying to shake his way through the defense, unable to do it, was Straka. Meanwhile, it's taken back by the Rangers and swung back up on the wing. Drop back over for Adam Graves. Graves a backhander, battled away by Barrasso, chopped back on by the defense of Boutonchon. After it is Ian Moran, but instead it's Graves for the Rangers. Waltz to the boards by Boutonchon. Puck ricocheted away from Mike Knuble. Battled for there, but then just lobbed out of harm's way, and the Penguins can make another change in lines. Rumenender right back in, and Barrasso collars it. Right-hand catching goaltender. That's unorthodox for most hockey players to attack. Worked along behind now, but it is Langdon up with it. Langdon trying to twist away, wiping out his Boutonchon. Langdon shook one in front, and it's forced away by the defense. Chipped on back, away from Ender. But in neutral ice, it is played by Manny Malhotra. Lob back in, glove down by Langdon, could not control. Boutonchon starts it back. They have a 3-on-2, but that breaks as the Penguins are changing. Now it's Matthew Barnaby feeding one. Controlling is Ian Moran, back onto Barnaby again. Barnaby looks from behind the net, right on number 99. Puck fed out to the front, but that one is chipped away to the corner. Had to be battled for there by big Kevin Hatcher. Worked by Barnaby on the outside. Barnaby's pass came across to Brown. His shot is knocked down. Brown goes down to the ice. Some heavy defensive work done by Brian Leach, and it's forced back down. No icing on this. John McClain battling his way back as it's forced off by Barrasso. Gretcki is back out there again as it's trickled back in for Richter. Richter able to paddle it away so that control can be gotten by the defense of Matthew Schneider.
And we bring it up once again. These Penguins are going with the exact same five-man unit to go against Gretcki's line whenever he's on the ice. Slager and Hatcher on the blue line, centered by Straka with Yager and Miller. Same unit, shift after shift after shift.
It's McClain to Gretcki, feeds it to the back. Big drive by Schneider and a pad stop by Barrasso. Rebound, a couple of players tumble to the ice and it's lobbed back out by Yager. Turn back up to Wayne Gretcki. Gretcki crossing, drops a pass that is needled back ahead for control by the Penguins, and moving in with it for the drop is Miller. Kovalov a shot and a pad stop is made by Richter. The battle continues on the wall. Gretcki straying at center ice, hoping to get a pass. Brian Leach brings it ahead. Leach drops. Gretcki feeds. It came back over to John McClain. McClain banked it behind. Bobby Dallas took over on defense. Dallas lobbed it back off the wall. It's helped to center ice one-handedly by the Penguins. Corralled and started back in very gently by Brian Leach. 7.5 gone, third period. The shots are 29-14 in favor of the Rangers. The game is tied at 1. Ender connects. Brennan tosses. Grabbed off by Knuble. Looks ahead and got it to Graves. Graves with a shot, artfully blocked away. Knuble dubbed one and Barrasso covers. 12-11 to go in the third, and the game's still knotted at 1.
That's Michael Barnett behind the sign, Wayne's best buddy and businessman. And back there, Marco Mira, the great golfer and very close friend of Wayne Gretzky's. They both use the same clubs. I won't mention the TaylorMades, but anyway, they do, and they kind of love the game. And Wayne's going to see a lot of that sport from now on, and a lot of it probably with Mark O'Meara.
How are your clubs? If
Bent.
you don't have them, they're coming.
They're bent.
Tapped away by Barrasso, kept alive by the Rangers, and floated behind. You could have very easily telestrated a phone on the side of the cheek of Barnett. I think the calls have already probably started to come. Would Wayne like to do this? Would Wayne like to do that?
You know, Mike, George Vesey writes for the New York Times, and he's such a great writer. He said, in life, as in hockey, Wayne Gretzky could always see the entire rink.
Here's a chance and a save made by Barrasso. Scramble in front, and it went to the corner. Bonin swings it back down the ice, and the Rangers came up with some more pressure. Icing touch-up. Let's hear from Sam Rosen.
And I'm here with Janet Gretcki. Is this all unfolding? How is it unfolding for you?
Well, I can say the last week has been very emotional for us, leading up to this. And right now, it seems like it's going by too fast. It seemed like, you know, it's a very surreal feeling. It's nice that we have all these cameras around that they can kind of remind us what it's all about, because it's fast.
Do the kids understand what's going on?
We took them up to Ottawa to get ready for this, so they would, you know, it would help them understand everything. And yes, I think they're old enough now that I hope that it's a fond memory for them.
Are you ready for Mr. Mom to be at home?
Yes. Dinner tables, discipline.
Best of luck, Janet.
Thank you, Sam. And thank you to you and JD for everything.
Thanks so much, Janet. Okay, guys.
Janet's husband is out there right now in a 1-1 third period tie with 11 minutes to go. Jaromir Jagr stepped into with authority by Popovich, and it's sent along to Gretzky. Gretzky's pass is flagged down and steered to the front. Backhander by Jagr went off of John McClain. Popovich turns it back along again. Brian Leetch tries to play it there. And it's sent back out, and here is a lead ahead for Gretzky. Up the wing with Sundstrom. Fed it across to McClain. Oh, and the shot off the mark. Another try. Around to the outside, Gretzky feeds. It's blocked loose and came back to Gretzky. Oh, he had Leetch breaking all alone in front and couldn't get it to him. It is Hatcher lobbing it back in.
He did it again almost every shift here in the third period, Mike. He's setting something up. The last one was a great setup for John McClain, who just missed. And Tom Barrasso has been good. His team's been outshot 33-14.
He had a tremendous game against Detroit last week in authoring a shutout at Joe Louis Arena. And he has had lots of emotion as well as lots of energy and rubber thrown at him today.
Well, he had trouble with his back in the game he played yesterday against the Islanders, or last night against the Islanders. And it's good to see Tom back and sharp and on top of his game here as the playoffs are right around the corner for the Penguins.
This is Dallas. Bobby Dallas bringing it ahead, worked it up the wing, but it escaped as far as Matthew Schneider. Forces it back over for Tamer, then through to Langdon. Langdon lobbed one back in, came to the bench for another change in lines. Savard's unit comes out for the Rangers as it's worked over to Andrusak. Andrusak's pass bounced free, collared there and flung back in by Knuble. It bounces over to Bobby Dallas again on defense, and he wheels it back down the ice. And again, because it's sent over half the length, there will be an icing touch-up and the face-off to come back near Barrasso. 9:15 to go, third period. And the Great Ones team is still tied.
Great game, Toronto-Montreal, at least a great rivalry. And before the game, Rocket Richard, Jean Beliveau, Guy Lafleur were on the ice, and they started off a tribute to Wayne Gretzky. Standing ovation for Wayne in Montreal before the game.
Oh, a chance first by Graves on a drive and then on a little backhander. And Barrasso seeming besieged but keeps holding them off.
I'm here with Christopher Reeve, and it's great to see you. And I know you're watching one of your greatest players and somebody you admire very much.
Absolutely, and I have tremendous respect for the fact that he's leaving the game while people still want him. You know, that he loves the game, not money, and I really appreciate that.
When you think of Wayne, what are your thoughts?
Well, he's the greatest one to play the game, and what I really appreciate is the modesty to match. You know, that the truly great players are very decent, modest people, and there's a lot of extravagance in the sport today, but not with Wayne.
You honor him with your presence. Great to see you, Chris.
Thanks very much.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Sam. You know, the Rangers, for every power play goal they scored during their regular season, money goes to spinal cord research. Rangers now, with the power play goal, have 71 of those on the season. I hope they can find a way to get as many next season for the funds for research. But without Grettzky, it makes you wonder.
Well, he figured on that power play goal. So did Matthew Schneider. Brian Leach got it. And that tied this game at 7:49. Puck flipped back along, and it bounced over to be controlled and flung back in deep, well wide of the reach of Mike Richter. Dumped around behind for control by Schneider. Kicked on back for Schneider and then fed back up for Knuble. Rangers having some difficulty getting out right now. Bouncing puck kicked at by Schneider, picked up by Kovalov. Kovalov looks to the front, and that one deflected away. Battled for, and it went off the glove of Schneider. Chipped to the front on Morozov, battling another try, and it bounced free over to Knuble. Chased off now by Kovalov. He bangs one that goes all the way back down the ice, and the Rangers, besieged, are guilty of icing the puck. Time to take a look at our Canada Dry check of the game. Well, let's see. Well, there it is.
That's about as close as it was all day long.
It's that mean Yuri Slager.
He avoided Slager nicely, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Wayne on the ice again to go against his opposite center, Straka. You know, I'm wondering if the Penguins have a player missing from their bench, and I'm wondering if it's Jan Hrdina. Hrdina, I don't believe, is on the bench.
I've not noticed him this period anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he may have been missing late in the second period, and I hope it's nothing serious. You hate to see.
Oh, Hatcher didn't get much on that. Or it might have been able to slither by if he'd have gotten less on it. Bouncing puck is corralled and kept alive by Morozov. Nudges back over. Kip Miller tried to bank one in front. Grettzky flipped it to center ice and is guided back across to Hatcher. 7:40 to go, third period. Game tied at 1. Leach tries to chip it on ahead. Jágr working for it there, but back in deep goes Sundstrom. Sundstrom tangles with Kip Miller. Jágr tried to dig it free. Then Miller stoked one out in front, and it went away from almost everyone except Hatcher. That one bunted down by Leach, and he glides back out with it, handing it on to Grettzky. Grettzky flips for Leach, who nubs it down. Spun one away from Grettzky, and it's collared by Kip Miller. Fed back ahead for Jaromir Jágr. Jágr feeds one on ahead, and Straka had it just tipped away as Brian Leach did a marvelous job of getting back on defense. Ahead with it, Sundstrom back on to Grettzky. Offside. 7:05 left in the third in a 1-all tie. Sam Rosen.
Thanks so much, Mike. And I'm here with last year's Masters champion, Mark O'Meara. All right, give me the scoop on Wayne's golf game.
You know, Sam, he's pretty good. I mean, we know he's great on the ice, but on the golf course, Wayne can go. I think he's probably, right now he hasn't been playing much because of hockey, but about a 9 or 10. But I think he works on his game, and now he's got a lot of time to work on his game, and hopefully we'll be able to play some tournaments together.
All right, he's probably going to be looking to you for some advice. What's your biggest advice for his game?
Well, you know, keep it in the short grass, but his short game, I mean, chipping and putting is where it's all at, and I think he's got great touch. I mean, he's got it on the ice. I think he's going to have it on the golf course.
Great to see you, Mark.
Thanks, Sam. It's great to be here.
Okay, Mike and JD.
Thank you, Sam. Icing touch-up, and so it'll come back. Wayne Gretzky's going to get a chance to see baseball at a reasonable price.
Isn't that nice? The Rangers players, before his last practice, presented Wayne with this great big chair. They call it a Steinbrenner chair because George Steinbrenner has one in his own office at the Yankee offices, and it's a big chair that's in the shape of a baseball glove. And he sat in it, and then the training staff of the Rangers, along with Major League Baseball, I saw the letter signed by Paul Beeston. They presented Wayne with a gold card that's a lifetime membership for 2 people. He can go to any ballpark in the entire league to see any ball game he wants. Isn't that nice? It was really nice of Major League Baseball, the Ranger training staff, and the players as part of the gifts being showered towards Wayne.
327 goals just in Edmonton. Paul Coffey was here today earlier. He came the second year of the NHL Edmonton Oilers, and he was 20. Well, Glenn Sather just had to be drooling when he had players of that caliber that were teenagers. Here's Brown with a shot. Oh, and an artful reaction by Richter in goal for the big stop. Now Malhotra tips it on ahead. Langdon steered on for Kevin Stevens. Dropped back to Malhotra. Around behind, Langdon held a stick and got there a little bit late. Rumenender couldn't hold that one, and so striding back for it is going to be Knuble. Knuble hit. Puck came back further, chipped in front, oh, and getting a piece of it was Richter. The backhand attempt from Kovalov. He peels off and feeds it onto the back to Moran. Dumping it around behind now to Bonin with it. Bonin tried to center, came in on goal, and twisting with it now is Malhotra. Manny Malhotra flips a backhander that is kept alive back at the point. Twisting with it now, trying to get a shot away was Warenka. Warenka fought off by Langdon, jammed one off of Richter, and it went wide. Keep in mind the Penguins would like to get up to 7th place in the Eastern Conference. They can with a win, at least temporarily. Buffalo plays Washington later. A big drive is answered by Richter.
A good shift here for Brown. Bonin along with Tyler Wright. He just had a big shot. Richter sharp.
Warenka moves in, shovels one, it kicked off of Rob Brown, back to Moran, drive, slowed and held carefully by Richter.
A real good shift by the Penguins as Ruben Endor and Robbie Brown get it together a little bit, separated by Pat DiPuzzo. Wayne Grettzky on the bench watching his team pinned in their own zone, trying to see what's going on here. A 1-1 game, and you can read his face. Still reading the play, and he had his head turned to his left for a long period of time because that's where the puck was. The Penguins really forcing the Rangers deep, made some nice plays, and Richter for the did you see that look? Oh man, that was some shift, and Richter comes up big for his club.
Mike Richter, a part of the championship here. 4 players remain from the '94 team: Richter, Adam Graves, Jeff Bukaboom, who could not play today because of injury, and Brian Leach, who has the only goal. Mark Messier looking on from the side glass.
I think his eyes are all right. Those are just those things. They match his outfit. You know,
That's
blue
it.
on blue.
Just a fashion touch.
Yeah, you need
that's
those
all.
when you go fishing off Hilton Head. The water is nice. It's a nice blue color there.
Probably headed there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Right after this. Angled back away from Morozov. Pitched on by Matthew Schneider. Knuble stood into Dallas. It's taken along by Morozov. This one escaped across the way, reached for by Savard, but kept alive by Andrusak. Now Savard for the Rangers. Tries to turn one ahead that popped high. Came back over for a jam that went off of Graves. Down to the last 5:05 of the 3rd period. Off of Kovalov. Kovalov sealed up, but is able to get away to make a pass along. Cycling with it and trying to get further help was Lang, and then it kicked all the way back to be taken by Slager. 4:45 left in the 3rd period. There will be 5 minutes of sudden death overtime if they don't decide it in regulation. The drop by Knuble, the shot by Graves is answered by Barrasso. Tom Barrasso has just been magnificent in a very historic game. If there is more than just one star, as was the case in Ottawa the other night, Tom Barrasso would certainly qualify for one of the 3. Puck shoveled back on for Savard. Savard worming his way across, sent it on back now for Sundstrom, gliding on in at the front of the net has McLean. Savard hasn't come to the bench on the change for Grettzky yet. Savard fed one that is tipped away from Leach, and now Grettzky is out and Savard is off. Dumped back on now for John McLean. McLean just trickled it back in. 4 minutes to go. Regulation time. Yuri Slager takes it. Slager with a pass on. Penguins are able to outlet to neutral ice. Collared there by Slager. Worked right back on. They drop it back to Yager. Yager cruising. Fed one in front. Straka couldn't get a good shot away. They work back along now, and it's Straka again. Lays it back on for Kip Miller. Miller battling on the boards with Sundstrom. Down goes Miller. Ahead comes Sundstrom. Lays a pass on to Grettzky in a 2-on-2. He picks up an extra man. It's Leach. Grettzky cruising ahead. Drops a pass on back. Popovich up with it there. Pivots now. Grettzky glides to the front, then around behind to his office with his number on it. Controlled there by John McLean. Feathered it through the Grettzky. Onto the back, Sundstrom. Shooting one. Blocked down by Yager. Sundstrom moving on in again. Got it to Grettzky around behind the net. Grettzky out in front. Shot and went off Barrasso and wide. Leach turned it around behind again. Grettzky looking to the front. That one kicked back to neutral ice with 3:05 left. More Penguins spill over the boards. Grettzky glides to the bench slowly. In the midst of this change, the teams are tied at 1. Nice finessing by Malhotra, but it's turned over and fed near Bonin, but he couldn't get to it as it was blocked by the defense. Now here's a shot by Moran that's blocked away by Stevens. Warenka shot! And this is taken by Malhotra. They want to get it out of there, and they do, as it's laid back on for Kevin Stevens. Stevens tried to chip it free. Nice block by Moran on defense. Brian Bonin with a pass that skipped off of Rob Brown, shuttled right back ahead. Darting with it is Malhotra, and he fed it across the net mouth wide as breaking in was Stevens. Now Malhotra centers one, and Stevens was tied up by Moran. And this one laid ahead might be a chance here. Crossing with it is Barnaby. Barnaby trying to finesse his way by. Just bulldogged by Ender. It's fed by Brown across to Dallas. Dallas lobbed it around behind the net. Stepped into was Brown. Puck laid between the defensemen and back out again. Another change in lines for the Rangers. 1 minute 55 seconds to go in the third. The game tied at 1. Greg Andrusak with it on the Pittsburgh defense. Andrusak's pass skips on back. Matthew Schneider to play it there. Just lays it over to Tamer. Turned back onto Graves. Couldn't get the pass to Savard. Lang had it nubbed back. Taken by Savard. Flipped right back in again, and Andrusak will go to play it. The chant is Grettzky. Dallas's drive picked up, stoked to the front of the net, but a kneeling block made by the defense. Getting in the way of that one was Tamer. Right back ahead come the Rangers, and it's Graves wanting to work in. 1:20 to go in the third. Dumped back along, and it is Tyler Wright with a little pass across it. Straka trying to get by. Fed it back over to Morozov, who twists. Morozov wanted to chip it in. Leach able to fit a little way to the boards, and it's controlled there by the Rangers with 1:05 to go, and Gretzky's back out. Played back to neutral ice. Yager tries to dance back in. Can't do it yet. Final minute of play. Moving back up with it as Sundstrom turns it on to Leach. Leach able to move ahead. Tumbles to the ice. It's McLean with it. Hands over to Gretzky. Couldn't get by the defense. Loose puck spun back out to Yager. One-on-one with Popovich. Yager moving back in the final 45. A backhander grabbed and held by Richter.
Mike, we had a quiet start to this game, but right now people feel it with every shift, every rush by both teams. Grettzky came on the ice. He got stripped at the last moment in the high slot of the Pittsburgh zone. Back came Jaromir Jagr, and Mike Richter with a great catching glove save. Oh, baby, some good stuff. Before the game, during warm-up, Wayne walked by a group of us on his way to the ice, and he walked by and he looked at us and he said, "Just kidding." And Wayne, you know what? Right now, I wish he had been just kidding with this whole thing. There's the backhander, and Richter comes up big. 40.4 to go, and they're standing. Off the bench. Oh, Slager was there and chipped it away.
Wayne Gretzky once said, "My father told me, enjoy every shift because each one brings you one shift closer to your last." This might be the last.
They've stopped the game, Mike. 40.4 seconds to go. They've stopped the game. It's 1-1. There's the possibility of overtime, but they have now stopped the game. Only Wayne Gretzky can stop hockey in its tracks.
Rangers have asked for a timeout with 40.4 left.
Up on the board, there's music. It says the great one. John Muckler, he knows. Stopped it for a tribute. Knowing Wayne, he just wanted to get it going.
Today's New Dodge player for the ages is Wayne Gretzky.
Pat DiPuzzo, the linesman, saying things. Miller lines up. Richter just skated out and said something to him. You can't help but respect this man.
Still got that big smile. He won't take this draw, but he'll be out there. 40.4 to go. Third period, game tied at 1. Everybody standing. Shot by Hatcher is snagged by Richter.
Kevin Hatcher, a great scoring defenseman, let go a lethal shot. Richter uses the catching glove again, just like he did on Jagr. Face-off win by the Penguins. Right back to big number 4. Look at this rocket. Richter had a good view of it. 36.6 to go now in regulation of a 1-1 game.
Straka on the test with Sundstrom again. Sundstrom won this one, and it's Popovich. Hands on to Gretzky, nearly closed off by Slager in front. Oh, and Jagr was stoned by Richter.
What a play by Slager.
Oh.
Surprised Gretzky took the puck away, set up Jagr, and Richter made his best save.
Yager able to step away. Yager moving back in. Threw one across. Straka fed it to the back. Hatcher moves in. Shoots one. Pad stop made by Richter. Rebound sent just away from Grettzky's reach. Coming way out of his goal, it's Tom Barrasso. Barrasso able to backhand it stiffly along the wall for Straka. 3 seconds and 2. And these two teams are going to be going to overtime. Just 0.3 of a second left in regulation.
We're going to get a little bonus Gretzky hockey. Maybe it's good that there's overtime. Maybe it's good that his little guys can see his dad play his last ever up to 5 minutes of playing time. I think he's exhausted. What he has gone through in the last week with emotions, taking care of people. Last night he made calls to some reporters around saying, thanks for your support over the years. Is there anything I could do for you? He called them.
Well, there will be an overtime. For the players, we're glad it's not a doubleheader. But for the stories that we've been able to get today with Sam Rosen, talking to so many people, John, what you've brought, what's been collected and written over the course of the years.
They're ready to play.
Just underway, sudden death overtime. Grettzky was there to take the first face-off, so he is out along with Sundstrom and McLean. But here's Hatcher trying to work in, can't. Leach ships it right back. Sundstrom lays it ahead for Grettzky. Grettzky with a pass back on John McLean, twirling with it, knocked off his stick by Hatcher. Hatcher dug it out on defense and is able to start it back ahead. Kip Miller with a little toss on now. Straka turning with it. Martin Straka just holding, banking it around for Yager. Puck skipped through off of Sundstrom, who was back deep playing. Picked up now by John McLean. He moves out with Grettzky again. Here's McLean trying to shake his way through, but the Penguins converged, and it's that nemesis to the Rangers this afternoon, Jiri Slager. Neutral ice, sudden death overtime. 1-1 is the score in the game. Grettzky has an assist. Yager there trying to finesse his way through, and the Rangers just surrounding. And it's fed away, but for a quick shot, and it's blocked down by the defense and then turned through the net mouth wide. Work back on behind the net. With it is Morozov. Tries to center, can't do it. There to get it is Robert Lang. Wanted to get it to Morozov. Skipped around away from him, and it's Mike Knuble. Down to the ice went Morozov. Angled back off the stick of Jaromir Jagr. Art Ross Trophy winner of this year. He'd love dearly to get the overtime winner, and he's got the puck in front. He scores! Jagr in overtime, and the game ends. Pittsburgh is 7th in the standings, and the Rangers lose in sudden death overtime by a score of 2-1. But no one is lost here today.
You know, Jaromir Jagr didn't want to leave the ice. He started the overtime and stayed out there. He made a great play. He stayed deep. One of the great players in the game today is Jaromir Jagr. Maybe he's saying, I want to be the next one. Nice goal, nice move, quick hands. He's a leading goal scorer, leading point getter on the season again, 2 years in a row for the NHL, and what a great player. Janet looks, Wayne talked about memories, guys, and we talked about the top 10. Here's the final 5. The 80 All-Star game, played on a line with Gordie Howe, 200th point in 81-82. He scored 212 that year. The goal that broke the record held by Gordie Howe was third, second in his top memories, 50 goals in only 39 games, and of course his first ever Stanley Cup back in 1984. Those are the top 5 memories of Wayne Gretzky, and he's brought us a million memories.
The victorious Penguins, Jaromir Jagr, who got the winner, all of them standing around, pounding their sticks on the ice. The hockey players' applause.
Mikey gave it everything he had today. He's played a lot. He tried every shift. He's been through a lot emotionally.
They all have the 99s. In 20 years, over 30 million people have gone through the turnstiles and watched Wayne play. 18,200 of them are here today. The last word on a wonderful career belongs to the fans. Hero, ambassador, active superstar.
feelings being on the ice, the feelings of the thunderous ovations. What do you feel?
Well, it's a wonderful feeling, and you know, I'm disappointed it's over. Obviously, I love the game so much, and said repeatedly, I loved playing and living in New York, and you know, it's a great game, and treated me with to a lot of great things, and I'm going to miss it dearly.
What was the greatest feeling during the course of the afternoon that you had on the ice?
Just that in my heart, I knew I was making the right decision. And the other side of it, I knew I still loved the game so much, but I knew it was the right decision.
On behalf of Fox TV, which has done coverage for the last 5 years, on behalf of fans, on behalf of all of us, for John Davidson, for Mike Emmerich, we loved watching you. Thank you for all the thrills that you provided.
All right, you guys were great to me. Thank you very much.